Okay, we're here to talk about the MLB playoffs. I put this nice little bracket on here that nobody in my league has paid any attention to quite yet, apparently. But
We'll look into it.
it shows who's in it and who has which teams, and it's pretty nifty looking, I think. But I guess we'll start with who you think who you most think are going to make it to the World Series, and then we'll go through like the little individual matchups real quick because there's only four of them to start. So for each of you, who do you think, who are you liking to make it the whole way?
Well, Aaron, you want to go first?
Yeah, so my hope is the Brewers, but if I look at the actual playoff picture and who has kind of been strong into it, I would say the Phillies for the NL side. I'm hoping with the Brewers, they have a couple starters that unfortunately one of them that returned from injury went back and got injured last week. So depending on what happens there, they were able to get some players back, but the Phillies have just had a strong offense, and even though their pitching hasn't been the best, they still find ways to win. So I would probably go one of the two teams. I mean, if I looked at wild card ones, Padres could do something on that side, but even though it's not locked yet, I think there's a couple of the standing spots that aren't determined yet, just because this is the last weekend. I think it is the AL East and the AL Central, and then the Mets are one of those that are still clinging on. On the AL side, man, I don't know. There's some strong teams over there. I really thought Detroit, but for how young they are and how they've kind of tailed off here recently, I would probably, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Mariners. That's probably my pick on that side.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. I know I agree with you on the NL side. Phillies and Brewers. It's going to be one of those two teams that come through. I like the Cubs. I think they've got a good young team. But the Mets, if they make it in, or the Reds, I mean, the Reds have been hot, but the Mets, I don't think they're going to make it past the Dodgers. And I don't know if the Cubs are going to make it past the Padres, like you said. If you just look, Padres versus Brewers, going to be one heck of a matchup. So, yeah. And Dodgers versus Phillies, I don't know, last year the Dodgers took that, but honestly, I think the Phillies got them this year. I'm not liking the Dodgers down the stretch. I know they could probably throw Shohei to pitch a couple innings in a game to kind of allow their other pitchers to get some rest. But still, the Phillies, they've got a bat, they've got a pitcher, they've essentially got something to answer for every team they play. And on the other side, I know a lot of people don't like hearing this, but Yankees, man, just, I mean, they're in it every year because they're well coached. And I know they make like 4 errors a game. If they don't shoot themselves in the foot, there's not many teams that are going to be able to beat the Yankees. So if the Yankees don't beat themselves, Yankees are going to win. And I love what the Mariners did. It shows some of these teams that don't have big names, and I get it. They've got some nice players, but they don't have the Aaron Judges of the league. But they traded, got Naylor, got some other nice pieces. I really like the Mariners, so it's Mariners or Yankees, I think, out of the AL side.
I just think that with the Yankees, man, they're going to have to – it's pretty much the AL East on one side of the bracket, and they're just going to beat each other up.
Yeah, but you look, the Blue Jays have been fading real bad. Red Sox, they were one of the best teams at home all season long. And then here, like the last end of August and September, they've been terrible at home. They were actually talking about scouting teams to see if they wanted to lose the last couple games to play on the road, depending on who their opponent would be. So yeah. I'm telling you, Red Sox and Blue Jays both look shaky right now. And whenever you're going into the playoffs, that's the last thing you want to do, especially in a sport like baseball where you get on a hot streak, you can win the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for the Blue Jays is they have a break. they get to watch that first series, and maybe that's a reset for them, because you got to think last year they were at the bottom of not only in the AL East but in MLB altogether. They only won, I think, 74 games last year. They're in the 90s this year. So having them, who had Toronto this year?
Nobody did.
The
Blue Jays? Nobody had the Blue Jays. That's the only team that was not taken.
Yeah. See, and that's one of those that's a good value right there. And yeah, they've the crazy thing about this year is when I was looking at wins and comparable to last year, it's a lot more evened out. You had some teams down in the cellar, and I think it's more even, where you kind of what Mike had talked about, teams fading now. A lot of those teams were so far ahead, and now they're fading towards the end, that it kind of evened up a lot of the standings.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing you have to remember about the Blue Jays, I'm pretty sure they have the same record as the Yankees. They may have the tiebreaker, but I'm pretty sure they're both 91 wins. That could, honestly,
that could change over this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. That's a crazy thing about this weekend. You look, the Reds or the Mets, who's going to make it in and who's going to be in what place, but that's the big one, because the Yankees get the first round off versus the Blue Jays, and I get it. Blue Jays got some great pitching, Max Scherzer and Bieber, and they've got some great arms, but that week of rest for your starters is huge.
I'm actually going to look at the schedule today to see. So Baltimore plays the Yankees, and the Rays play the Blue Jays.
Ooh, and I think the Rays and Orioles.
Yeah, it could be the Yankees taking the top spot.
Yeah.
Well, what's hysterical about this whole thing is I was just talking about my little bracket here, and I just realized the part where it said American League and National League were flip-flop, so I was doing that while you guys were talking. Everybody get to see
I
that.
didn't want to say anything while you were.
No, it's fine. Hysterical. No, it's funny.
So we shouldn't have viewed your awesome bracket.
You should have, so you could tell me I messed it up, but
no, that's true. Now that's gonna be tough for who comes out of the AL East. I would kind of change my tone on with what Krause said. Whoever takes that top spot and gets the break, they'll probably be going to be the leading candidate out of the AL.
Yeah.
I still like the M's, though. For some reason, for how young they are and the pieces they added, I think they've got a good chance.
Yeah. I liked the Tigers. I thought they were young and kind of hungry, but I think they're like Baltimore last year. They got hot, and they'll get in there. They may make some noise, but they're not going to challenge for a World Series year one.
Yeah.
But Seattle, man, that's the wild card in all this, because they gel. Whenever you add some pieces, sometimes it doesn't always go right. And dude, it hit on all cylinders, and you can't beat what the big dumper's doing, man. Yeah, I think he's challenging for the lead of most homers in the AL in a season.
Yeah, it's crazy. Past King Griffey Jr. Never, I didn't think, being younger and idolizing him that would be passed so early in my lifetime.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know a lot of people would have thought that.
All right.
And he's doing it as a switch hitter. That's the crazy part that blows my mind. He's got power from left and right.
Yeah, that is amazing. It's a rarity to have that.
To have like that Barry Bonds type power, but to be able to go up against left-handers or right-handers and put them at the disadvantage, man, that's amazing.
Yep.
But we'll see, because again, that's the thing about the Yankees. The Yankees beat themselves more so than a lot of their opponents. The poor fielding, and it's just, we'll see if the Yankees get in their own heads, make a couple errors in a game, and then it streaks, and then they're out of a series, and they could be out of the playoffs in round one. So or they could play like the Yankees and, go all the way to the World Series and win it. So that's for a better. I don't know what I'd do about the Yankees.
I mean, I think that's similar. The Yankees are pretty much in line with how the Phillies operate too. They make a lot of mistakes, but they can hit for power, try to score a lot of runs. But sometimes it might be like an 8-7 game that they've got to either win or lose.
Yep. That's kind of the reason why I know that they're a terrible team, but man, the A's, they're going to be exciting to watch. Man,
you got to look for that next Tampa Bay team. Tampa Bay's never had like a roster. They'll have young players and they'll trade for prospects, but it's one of those that for the longest time they were still finding ways into the playoffs, and you got to find that one or two teams that can be the next Rays, or I would even put the Brewers. The Brewers sometimes, they have no names and it's prospects they call up.
But you see, the Brewers do a lot of that. Like they get a hit, and then they get a hit, and then they run it out, and then they're stealing a base, and then they're legging it out. And the Brewers never beat themselves. That team is well coached and just like a well-oiled machine. Right off, almost seemed like right at the start of the season, the Brewers were just clicking.
Yeah, it's I was worried about their pitching, and that's the thing. Their defense, and then just kind of small ball is what was winning games for them.
Yeah, and they got. I mean, I know they called up Mizrowski, so you've got him now on the team, but he seems. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes he seems a little inconsistent. Like he'll go through and gas 8 guys, and then the next one he won't make it out of the third. So it's kind of hard betting on him right now.
He came out and became a spotlight, and then once he got hurt, kind of a setback from that. He's got rocked a couple times.
Yeah, I hope he gets back.
I think he will. I think he's young. I also that's kind of my comparison to the Tigers. They're so young. Yeah. I mean, they're one of the first teams that, when watching a game, they have a unique approach of not stopping at a base on a close play. You just keep running, and that's not what you teach in baseball. But that's a statistical thing that they found. There's more ways to advance to a base and not get out than to slide in or something. They just keep running, and it's kind of odd to watch because it's not the baseball way, but it's a new age way to do something.
Yeah, it kind of going off topic off the playoffs. Did you hear they actually replaced a manager with AI in the minors?
No,
wow.
But I'll have to look that up.
I don't know like what level, single A versus triple A, but I was reading something, and the manager was actually talking about it. I don't know if it was a real story or something off the Onion, but that'd be interesting with all the AI and with all that stuff, that what it would tell you, when to pull a pitcher, when to DH, when to do all that stuff. Because, I mean, they can look at stats for years and really put you in a good spot to win. And I know managers sit there and coach and know a lot of that stuff, but dude, AI is probably going to be right more often than somebody that's been doing it for 30 years, possibly.
I don't think I like that just on principle.
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't think I like that just on principle. I mean, the idea that somebody's going to get replaced by an AI, it's like...
That's going to be a new thing with umpires. They're going to have that.
Yeah.
Where you get to call ball and strike if it's challengeable.
Yep. Oh. It's happening, and that's what that's going to lead to. Once you do the challenges, you're probably less than 2 years away from 100% just being on that no umpire back there, or the umpire's only on outs.
Well, they'll be there. They just won't. They're gonna go to whatever the call is.
Yeah, it'll come in their ear from AI or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they got used to it in spring training. the whole thing is the batter would tap their helmet to challenge it, and they knew after the start of the season they couldn't do that, or you would get, I think you would get thrown out.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember a couple of minor league guys got called up. I remember watching a minor league player get called up, tapped his helmet, and got thrown out of the game immediately, and probably didn't think about it.
Yep. So that's a new way that nowhere, in the last 20 years did you think, I'm just going to challenge and tap my helmet. And then all of a sudden it's been new, and it's not been new. It's been in the minors for several years, and they keep advancing from single A to double A to triple A. And I've watched at least 2 people get thrown out because they tap their helmet thinking they can challenge something and they get thrown out.
Yeah. But it's coming. It's coming soon. So
yes,
next season. Is it all season, or is it just for a certain period?
I think it's going to be season.
Yeah. And you get, 2 challenges?
That I don't know. I'm going to guess they'll probably figure that out on the off season.
Thought I saw it was like you get 2 challenges wrong and you don't have any more, but if you get it right, you just keep your challenge, so you can just keep challenging all game long, I think. But either way, that's still, I like the fact that, because baseball for so long is, we're going to do this old school, don't change anything, it has to be done this way. And baseball's kind of, allowed it to change a little bit. They've changed, the NL now has a DH, and they've got you're able to call challenge balls and strikes during summer. So it's just our spring training. It's kind of cool that they're actually letting some of that happen now.
Yeah. All right, Doug, we went off topic on.
That's all right. So let's go to the actual individual matchups, and I'm just going to mark on here which one you guys thinks is going to win. So we'll start with the Tigers and the Guardians. Who you got?
So is that locked?
What do you mean?
I don't
locked?
think anything's locked yet, because
they're not locked.
No, because there's still last weekend. Because technically, what Kraus was telling earlier is the Yankees, Toronto. That's who determines who gets a bye.
Oh,
yeah,
we're too early.
And right now they're tied. So this weekend, right now, Toronto's got the tiebreaker, but that could change.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part about it. I mean, you could have a bye, you could be playing week 1, you could have a terrible matchup, you could have a great matchup. So it could all change this weekend. But overall, I mean, just looking at it, they're still the Brewers, Phillies, the Yankees, Mariners are probably your top picks. But it's anybody's show. Like I said, man, you remember the Red Sox. They're down. They're almost out of the playoffs. They're like 1 out away from being out of the playoffs. Win that game, win the series, win the World Series. You get on a streak, you get on a hot streak, and you play against a team that is not expecting you. There's no team that couldn't win the World Series once you make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you could have the Reds. And I know there's a lot of people that really don't want the Reds to make the playoffs, and a lot of people that would love to see the playoffs have the Reds in it. But you got Reds or Mets. Who knows who's going to make it there? I think the Mets got them by a game, but this weekend could determine it all.
Yeah, and I think that they would automatically, whoever is that last seed would play the Dodgers. I think that's already.
Yeah, Mets or Reds.
Yeah.
That's good for the Dodgers, because if the Dodgers had to play the Padres in that opening round, I don't know if they get past them.
All right.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, if you want us to if you want to update your nice new standings thing that you added on there.
We'll just give me your stuff as it goes on.
When Sunday hits, we can do our predictions.
Yeah, that's fine. You can give me your predictions, and then I'll just update it as we go, and then plan on doing another one whenever we get close to the World Series. So then we'll be able to look back and see how close you guys were and not, whatever. And
okay,
look at it then.
I like it.
You guys got anything else?
Not really. I like talking baseball, though. And I like talking it with Aaron, man. That guy knows some stuff, even if he is a Brewers fan.
Aaron has a big interview coming out in the next couple of weeks We recorded it a couple weeks ago, and it's going to be a two-parter. It's so long. So
Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm not gonna you might have to edit that out.
Kraus is riding a train.
anyways, yeah, somebody was going to check that one out when it comes out because there's a lot to that one.
Yeah. So, plan on getting back together on Sunday?
No, I don't think so. I think we'll be okay until the next video or whatever. Just you guys can just text me whatever you think, or I'll ask you and text you, and I'll just add it up and then.
That'll work.
But we can do a when it comes closer to the World Series, we can kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
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 But no, yeah, I just think with baseball, you always find those teams out of the rough, especially for this league and having ownership in them. But that's the risk you take. That's why I spent so much money on the Dodgers, even though it's a downhill year. Even though they're third seed in the NL, that's not a Dodger way. You think with the money that they invest in, they're going to be a top team every year.
Yep. And that's every team is 2 entries away from either making the playoffs or not making or you just never know.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Doug.